Greetings, fellow mammals. First of all, I want to apologize for the delayed release of this episode. I did not expect to get an invite to you know what, and I got fairly addicted in that short time frame, but now I have finished all 3 videos and you will receive the other 2 soon. This time around you voted for the first sidearm we will take a look at together, the G57. Here is my recommended loadout, we will talk about why I use that setup, and we will take a look at the current A tier placement and if it will be able to keep that position. So now, as usual, we will get right to the time to kill charts. We only have 2 ammo types today, close combat and subsonic, which just seems to be an upgrade over close combat, and that's it already. But before we decide to just pick subsonic and move on, a few notes if I may. First off, we get access to 1 suppressor, so how bad is it? Combined with close combat? Yeah, that is bad. What about with subsonic? That is even worse. Cool, so the suppressor is garbage, good to know. But now we can just pick subsonic and move on, right? No. You see, the G57 has only one redeeming quality really, and that is its burst fire mode. Otherwise it just cannot compete with the other sidearms really. And when we use that burst fire mode, we get a recoil that looks like this. Ooh, wee, that looks almost depressing. And yeah, it also feels that way. If you really want to use this gun, I would recommend to only use it in hipfire for like 90% of the time. Because even with the barrel attachments we will get to in a second, you cannot rein in this atrocious wobbly and jumpy recoil. So now that we decided to use hipfire, which actually feels more accurate at range than ADS to me, we can also come to the conclusion that you are not really engaging targets beyond, say, 30 or 40 meters. Or at least you shouldn't. So with that range in mind, let's pull up the chart again, and we will mark this 30 meter distance right there. Do you notice something? At the ranges where subsonic would be better, you are not hitting anything in a consistent manner. That means it will just be spray and pray at that point. And what is important for spray and pray? Magazine sizes. And what offers do we get here? Well, this is the lineup. As you can see, subsonic shares its max size with the smallest close combat option. But for some reason it gets less reserve magazines. And then we of course have the close combat options with 28 and even 36 rounds. So I would argue picking the drum mag is the logical choice. And because you only get to reload once with that, you should equip the 28 round version in the second slot. And for the third one we will actually take subsonic, because at that point it is after all an upgrade over the base close combat option. Now with the ammo out of the way, what can we do to make this hipfire even better? The barrel attachments could provide something there. As I said before, none of these make the ADS bearable in my opinion. If you don't believe me, just try it yourself. I think if you did one of those cowboy movie standoffs and both were to use the G57, but one has to aim and the other could hipfire, the hipfire guy would probably win 9 out of 10 times. But that is just my takeaway after using this gun as a primary for 6 matches. And let me tell you, that was the least fun I had recording for this series so far. And yes, that includes the DiMM episode. So what barrel attachment can help with hipfire? Pretty simple, the tactical compensator. Why? Well, it reduces spread by 8% and increases recoil by 8%. But since hipfire recoil is laughably minor, you won't even notice the difference. But that slight improvement in bullet spread can give you an edge, especially at those mid-ranges. In the second slot, I would, like pretty much always, still equip the suppressor, because it is really the only other option in this section that has some purpose on this gun, even though I would never use it. And for the underbarrel, the choice should be more than obvious. Of course, we want the laser. And for the sake of the developer who had to create the flashlight, we can also let that one tag along. For the sights, we get this incredible selection. As you know, I pick a regular red dot. And that's it for the loadout already. I know you might be thinking, that is really bare bones, man. And yes, it is. But I should inform you that this is one of the most extensive customization selections you will see on all sidearms. So prepare for even shorter loadout chapters in the upcoming pistol episodes. Anyway, let's talk about that A tier positioning. As I hinted at earlier, while recording for this episode I used this pistol solely as a primary. using ADS and hipfire, trying out all barrel attachments again, realizing how irrelevant they are, finally just coming to the conclusion that hipfire is the only viable way to go, and then for the last 2 matches I actually had a slight hint of fun. If it wasn't obvious before, you should not use sidearms as primaries, at least in this game. And the G57 is no exception to that rule. But would that fact really change its placement? After all, a pistol can never really compete with a rifle, and with that line of argumentation, all pistols would have to be lowered to something like D tier or even worse. So I guess we have to artificially uplift the sidearm rankings a bit, so it's not as depressing to look at, but still accurate in its own confines. So an F tier sidearm would be something that would make me prefer to just run up to the enemy and stab him instead. And an S tier sidearm would be something I could actually use as a primary without getting too annoyed. With those upper and lower borders in place now, where does the G57 fall? Well, it does work and it's quite decent as a backup, but trying to use it as a primary ruined my evening. So I guess A tier is not too far off in the end, but I would actually rank it down a bit. And here's why. The ADS is absolutely horrible. Using the suppressor is like amputating its performance again. The ammo types have basically no difference to them in actual gameplay reality, and worst of all in my opinion, the burst mode is not the default. So every single match, the first thing you should do is to get out your pistol and switch fire modes. Because otherwise, you will get into that gunfight where you need your pistol, you expect the burst, and you get a singular shot and then probably die. Confused, annoyed. If they could just make burst the default, that would be so nice. Such a simple fix to make, but alas. I think now, after using it again after a long time, the new visual recoil and all the other changes that happen in between, I would rather place the G57 in B tier. It's not average, meaning C tier, because it has burst, but it is not great either. And yes, this probably means we will rank down a lot of the other pistols as well when the time comes. But that's it for today. Let me know if you agree or not, and if my loadout works for you. Now that I have a comment section at hand different to the Google Sheet, I can actually get feedback from you, so please use that opportunity. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give it a like. And if you want to see more videos like this, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Tomorrow we will take a look at our first shotgun in the series, the MCS 880. I hope I will see you there, but in the meantime, I will see you on the battlefield. Sorrow out.